He didn't get to be the father that Liu 10 deserved, so he became that father for someone else. He chooses Zuko over and over again, giving him everything.
Sometimes I feel like Uncle Iroh was more of a father to Zuko than his true father ever was. Like, hello! Yeah, this is the philosophy of Uncle Iroh. Yeah, it was a little bit different from my usual. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. It's by Lesson Off. And hope you click all. And without further ado, here we go.
Iroh is one of those characters who people love immediately, without always being able to explain why.
Iroh!
There's just something about him that feels like a person you've met, or a person that you at least wish you had. Someone who just looks at you like you're already...
Like, seriously, every time I watched Avatar, like, Iroh was that guy that you just wish that you knew. Like, he was the kindest and most understanding person of them all, honestly.
...already worth something. But he wasn't always like that, and to understand how he became the wise, tea-loving, flirty old man that we all love, we have to go back to his days in the Fire Nation.
Oh, shit.
This is because the man who is humming about leaves on the vine spent most of his adult life as a war criminal. That might be a strong word, but it is just straight up who he is. Iroh wasn't a soldier following orders he disagreed with, and he wasn't a reluctant participant who eventually defected. He was the heir to the throne of an expansionist empire and invaded a city and killed plenty of people as a general in the army.
Oh yeah, his beginning was a little bit dark.
If we don't burn it to the ground first.
His grandfather,
I mean, you cannot really blame him since he grew up in a place like this with a Fire Lord and everything, and they were talking about expansion, conquering and everything. He was bound to just be in the family business.
Lord Sozin started the war, and his father Azulon carried it on. Conquest was the family business, and for most of his adult life, Iroh was the man holding the spear. He believed in the cause. He was a renowned general, the crown prince, the dragon of the West, a title that he earned by being very, very good at burning the world for the Fire Nation. Oh, and also lying about K-warding the last dragons to protect them. He was ruthless and capable as a military figure, but he did always have a compassionate side for his culture, his people, his soldiers, and his family, unlike his more power-hungry younger brother. However, Iroh's pride would be his eventual undoing.
Here we go.
After laying a siege against the walls of Ba Sing Se for 600 days,
there is no war in Ba Sing Se.
Finally did it. His forces breached the outer wall. He became a legend, the first commander in history to manage this. The thing he had envisioned in his youth was finally happening. But as fate would have it, his son, Liu 10, was killed on the front lines. The greatest moment of Iroh's military career soon turned into the worst moment of his life. This is the pivotal moment where the reality of the war finally dawned on him.
Bro, I don't know if you know that moment in the Tales of Ba Sing Se. It's an episode of an animated series where we see what each character of the Avatar team and the other cast is doing. There's this scene where Uncle Iroh just sits down far off the city and lights an incense for his son, and he sings that it's so fucking beautiful, man. It's so fucking beautiful. I'm like, what the fuck? This is you can't even hear the sadness and the love for his son, and that he regretted what he was not able to see, what he was able to see now. And oh my god, I'm always bawling when I see that episode.
There is no glory in blood. There is no respect in an enemy's submission. There is no honor in violence.
There's no honor.
No power in anger. None of it can bring back what has been taken from
it can bring it back.
Every Earth Kingdom civilian, soldier, and parent who had lost someone to the Fire Nation's incessant imperialist siege had been feeling exactly this. He hadn't let himself know that before, but now he couldn't stop knowing it. He finally could empathize with his...
Oh, for fuck's sake, that's the fucking scene that I'm talking about. Oh, that scene is so fucking beautiful. It's... victims. It's everything.
With his morale in shambles and seeing no end in sight to the bloodshed, Iroh abandoned the siege. Some of his messengers never reached the men cut off behind enemy lines, soldiers who had served him loyally for years, who died in the chaos because he couldn't keep going. He carried that for the rest of his life too. Back home, Ozai schemed to take the throne. Iroh...
It's just how life goes. We all make mistakes, and we have to live with those. honestly really deep.
Never fought back because the throne had been what all of this was for. What all of this was for had killed his son. There was nothing left for him in the Fire Nation. He was at the lowest point in his life.
True.
So he left to do some soul searching. What followed were the Wandering Years.
The Wandering Years.
It was during this period that Iroh became the wise old figure that we all now know and love. But the show only ever gives us bits and pieces of that journey here and there. Let us know in the comments down below if you want to see a series of Iroh and his journey.
I want to see it so badly.
We know that he entered the spirit world to find Lu Ten, and we know he came back without him. Imagine the size of that journey, to go to the literal spirit world afterlife to look for your son, and to come back empty-handed.
True.
Whatever he found there, it wasn't his boy. He had to walk away from that too. But we do know that he at some point ended up joining the Order of the White Lotus, a society built on the principle that wisdom doesn't belong to any one nation. He became a Grand Lotus in the Order as well. For a former Fire Nation general, that's a kind of slow conversion over to the best of the best. And we know that it was probably during this journey where he studied waterbenders and developed lightning redirection and became the man that we know. He'd also met the dragons back when he was still a Fire Nation loyalist, where Ran and Shaw saw something in his heart and deemed him worthy and taught him the original ways of firebending.
The true meaning of firebending is not destruction, it's life. It's life and it's all of its beauty.
Everything we see from him in do for him or how to prove himself to them. That sentence forms the action through non-resistance. He's not a Buddhist exactly by this point, but he was still a retired general, a decorated war veteran, and still at least outwardly loyal to his people. We know this because we see him in the Fire Nation Palace. We see him take young Zuko to Ozai's war council, which eventually led to the brutal Agni Kai when Zuko spoke when he shouldn't have. And
that is such a this is also a really painful moment, honestly.
And was then scarred for life and banished by his father, and that whole thing. Oof, talk about daddy issues. Iroh then leaves with his nephew on his quest to find the Avatar, and that's where we see him in the show. By the time we meet Iroh on Zuko's ship in Season 1, the man has already been built.
He really did not go through a glow-up. Holy shit.
Everything we love him for is in place. We just need to find out over time. What he believes is hard to summarize without flattening it down. He's not a Buddhist exactly, even though much of what he says does echo Buddhist ideas. He's not a Taoist, although the lightning redirection technique is essentially Wu Wei made physical, strength through yielding, action through non-resistance, and redirection. He's not even a clear convert away from the Fire Nation, because he still loves Fire Nation things and people. His tea, his music,
He cannot really fight where he comes from. I mean, each and every one of us has their home place. We have a homeland, hometown, and those things will stay with us forever. And if we truly feel like home there and this is where we come from, we will try to be proud of it. Someone who's from America is proud of America. Someone who's proud of Japan is proud of Japan. And someone who lives in Germany may be proud of Germany. You take that everywhere with you. This is a part of you in a sense.
His memory of his son, his family. He's something stranger and harder to name, which is a man who has been forced by grief to think for himself about what a person is for.
Indeed.
And the answer he's arrived at is built out of pieces from everywhere.
Indeed.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different
I love that sentence.
That sentence forms the foundation of his entire worldview. The will
draw wisdom from different places, not from one place alone. And otherwise it gets stale, and you will never reach to a good conclusion, honestly. You have to understand others.
Willingness to draw from many places is the philosophy, because otherwise you basically limit yourself to living inside of an echo chamber. If you only get your ideals and your personality traits.
Basically, how our algorithm just tries to block out everything else that we don't try to want to hear and everything. Like really the echo chamber. You have to listen to people. You have to sometimes to draw from many different sources. Even if you don't like it. Even if you don't like some opinions. You cannot deny that those exist.
And your understandings of the world from a single place, you become a copy of that.
Exactly.
So instead of trying to box him into one tradition, it's more useful to look at what he actually believes. 3 main convictions, each one a direct inversion of something the true believer would have taken for granted.
Exactly.
The first conviction is the one underneath everything else, and that is, people are not tools. They're not instruments to play and manipulate. The Fire Nation had taught him to see other human beings and nations as resources, soldiers to sacrifice as pawns, subjects to govern, enemies to defeat. And after Liu 10, that way of seeing things became impossible for him. He couldn't look at a stranger anymore without seeing somebody's son or daughter. The clearest single demonstration of this is the scene with the mugger in Tales of Ba Sing Se. Just some random guy who tries to mug him, and Iroh is still kind to him and tries to...
Every time I see how with manga just stands there, I feel like I can understand why Iroh says, what are you doing? You stand there like a fucking pussy. What's wrong with your legs? Why do you look like you're gonna shit yourself, man?
Teach him how to do it properly. That whole episode deserves a full video in and of itself, but we'll focus on this specific scene. Now, Iroh could instantly kill this man with a pinky if he wants to, but he just disarms him, critiques his stance, and invites him to share a pot of tea. By the end of his conversation, the would-be mugger tells Iroh that he doesn't know what to do with his life, and that he's always wanted to be a masseuse, and that nobody's ever believed it.
Honestly, this is what I really like, honestly. We always forget that the most powerful moments for people is just a conversation. Just sitting down with someone, having a conversation, trying to get to know them, try to learn a little bit about them, about their life, trying to see if they can learn something from you, and you can maybe still learn something from them. Those are moments that I see not really utilized a lot in modern storytelling a lot, because those moments are really powerful. Because these are the most important things that you can ever write. You can use it for so much setup and everything. If people just sit down and have a little bit of a talk. Those simple but quiet moments. I think I saw it in Digital Circus where Pomni even talked with Kinga. Those were the most powerful moments, honestly.
While it is always
it's not all about action
in oneself,
it's
a little help
it's
from
about
others
character.
Can be a great blessing.
Help from others. Not earned, not bargained for, and not contingent on usefulness.
Yes.
The young man in the alley is not someone Iroh needs to fix or convert or recruit. He's a person that Iroh has just decided to be kind to, because being kind to people is what Iroh does now, and is what a good person does. Not because it's required, not because it helps you in any...
I mean, there's also the scene where he explains the thing with the water tribe. I feel like Iroh's mentality was really inspired by the water tribe. There's the scene where he's talking about the other nations, like with the Fire Nation. It has great power and the energy to do everything. I feel like when he talks about the 4 nations and everything, he definitely talks a little bit more about the Water Nation. When you look at that that whole talk with him, you can definitely see it, because when he speaks about the Water Nation, he says things like the people of the Water Tribe can adapt to many things. They have a great sense of community and everything. You can definitely tell that he was studying them, possibly because of a connection to the spirits, but he understands them better than most. He understands them second to the Fire Nation. He is probably not the best with the Air Nomads or the Earth Kingdom, but he understands them almost as good as the Fire Nation. And you can definitely see that this whole thing about sense of community, overcoming things together, and trying to understand and adapt to the situation, that all of his actions are kind of inspired by this little talk. Yeah, it's those little things in the TV show that you have to just sometimes watch.
Anyway, but remember, just because. He kind of does the same thing for Toph as well, who has the opposite problem.
Community.
She feels that the people around her see her as weak and treat her too delicately because she's blind, and she hates it.
There is nothing wrong with letting people who love you help you.
Same conviction, different presentation. One person needs someone to believe in them and empower them. The other needs permission to stop proving that she doesn't need anyone. Iroh reads both of them correctly because he's not looking at either of them through the lens of what they can do for him or how to prove himself to them. He's just looking at them for who they are. The monk Thomas Merton wrote that in the truly humble, something strange happens. Even in the greatest sinners, they can see virtues and goodness that no one else can find. He wasn't writing about a cartoon character, obviously, and Iroh is a pretty extreme version of this concept, but he was describing the same disposition.
Yes.
A man who's given up keeping score, who has stopped defending the imaginary self that needed the throne and the title and the legend and the power and the ego.
The ego.
Who finds that he can no longer rank people or place them as better than anyone else. He can only see them and understand what their struggles are, and that's it. Iroh has been emptied out by grief and filled up with something else. He gave up the throne. He doesn't care for his reputation. He doesn't care about being right or with proving himself as better. The imaginary self that the Dragon of the West needed to protect is long gone.
Yeah, it's long
What's
gone.
left just looks at who's ever in front of him and asks what they need.
Oh yeah, I've seen where he always show this one where he talks about the 4 elements.
Pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility is the only antidote to shame.
Iroh has no legacy left to defend. He gave up his throne, he doesn't care about his reputation anymore, he can play the bumbling old fool and a fearsome one-man army whenever he wants.
Yep.
He knows who he is and he's content with it, so might as well put on any mask when he wants to. The second conviction follows directly from the first and is the one that Zuko has the hardest time understanding for most of the show.
Oh.
Power and strength are not the same thing.
They're not the same thing.
Iroh is, by most accounts, the strongest firebender alive.
Oh, he is.
The only man other than the Avatar who could have beaten Fire Lord Ozai in single combat. And he uses that power, almost without exception, to do nothing.
Yep.
Okay, that might be a bit much, but you get...
Yeah, but it is true. I mean, he definitely focuses his energy elsewhere, but...
Get the point. He warms a cold tea with it.
Feels like
he
he's
soaks in a hot
somewhere
spring.
else.
The man who breached the wall of Ba Sing Se ends up working as a tea server in the lower ring of that same city, and he's happy doing it.
Yeah.
This gets misread, sometimes by Zuko himself, as a kind of laziness or cowardice.
No, it's not.
But it's not.
It's not.
When Admiral Zhao plans to kill the moon spirit at the North Pole, a move that would unbalance the world and break waterbending.
Yeah, imagine that someone suddenly kills the moon spirit and now our moon is gone. Our planet would definitely crash into another one. Thanks for that one. Probably didn't think about planetary rotation, you bitch.
For generations, Iroh confronts him directly, fights him without any hesitation, and warns him that whatever Zhao does to the moon spirit, Iroh will turn back on him tenfold.
Oh.
And he did.
Oh,
but
he did.
That confrontation led him to being branded as a traitor to his nation. But that didn't matter. The world was at stake. When the time finally comes, he marches with the Order of the White Lotus to take back Ba Sing Se.
Oh,
that same city he spent 600 days trying to breach as a young general. The same city where he lost his son. He finally captures it, just not for the Fire Nation. And not for himself either. He captures it to give it back to its people.
Yes.
So he will use his own power. He just won't use it to needlessly dominate, to perform, or to prove anything, to flex his muscles, to show that he has the strength to overcome anything and to take over anything. The Taoist tradition has a phrase for this, Wu Wei, often mistranslated as non-action, but really meaning action that flows with what the situation actually requires instead of forcing an outcome. Kind of like flowing with the river kind of thing. The Fire Nation's true believer used his power because his country told him he should. He turned his power and strength into something that could dominate. The Iroh we know uses it only when something real is at stake.
Okay,
Strength that has nothing to prove can spend itself on kindness. That's what makes him so easy to underestimate, and so terrifying in the rare moments he stops being kind.
Oh yeah, the moments when when Iroh knows he has to let go of a nice uncle. There was this whole fucking training arc. This dude built up muscles. He went and just did... He went and did so many sit-ups and push-ups and everything just to escape prison. And he was like a one-man army. Bro knew exactly what he had to do and at what exact moment. He was waiting. This is why he's so terrifying. You never know what is happening in this man's head.
When someone is quiet and peaceful and kind all the time, you really do pay attention when they start getting a bit louder and a bit more direct, don't you? After he lost his son, he ended up carrying Lu Ten with him for the rest of his life inside of his heart, as love. Not as grievance, but as a way he could give back. The clearest statement of this comes at the end of Tales of Ba Sing Se, when Iroh sets up a small altar on a hilltop. He places a picture of Lu Ten against it and lights 2 sticks of incense with his fingers and says,
No, this moment is so
Only
beautiful.
I could have helped you.
I cry every single time.
Same! I also cry every time.
Only I could have helped you. I feel like the writers used the word helped instead of something like saved intentionally. Because Iroh is not just regretting the death, he's regretting having been the wrong kind of father for most of Liu Ten's life. I should have known better sooner. I should have been a better father to you. I should have been the man I am now while you were still here. I should have been able to teach you what the dragons taught me, what the waterbenders taught me, what losing you eventually taught me. All the things I had in my hands as a young man and was too captured by my country and my desire to dominate.
This is how you write true character.
The grief is double at this point. He lost his son and the chance to be the father that his son deserved before he lost him. The man on the hilltop is mourning both at once. What Iroh does after this is try to answer that regret. He didn't get to be the father that Liu Ten deserved, so he became that father for someone else. He chooses Zuko over and over again, giving him everything, because the only way to honor what he learned too late is to give it to someone who can still use it. A family member who reminds him of his own son, who can still use this advice and betterment.
Exactly.
Zuko is angry, scarred, exiled, desperate for his father's approval, and convinced that the only thing that will fix his own life is hunting down and capturing this 12.
Sometimes I feel like Uncle Iroh was more of a father to Zuko than his true father ever was. Like, it feels like he's trying to be the father that he couldn't be. Yes, true, truly.
12-year-old boy.
True.
What Iroh never does is directly compare Zuko to Azula, or even anyone else for that matter. He never directly compares him even to his own son, even though Zuko constantly...
That wouldn't really do well for you, kid, if you constantly compare them to other children or other people. How would that child grow up if it was constantly being compared to? I say that because it was constantly done to me by everyone around me. It puts so much mental stress on you. Like, why are you not good like this? Can you not do this? And I feel like you can sometimes see that with me, but you don't need that shit. You need someone that's just there for you, doesn't compare to you, and honestly, picks you up when things are going wrong. Is there for you and just empowers you for who you are, because you cannot compare people. Someone is stronger in this aspect, someone else is strong in that aspect. We are not ever being alike. We are not like fucking machines that you can compare. It's never gonna work. That shit will never go by.
He compares himself to everyone around him. He never tells Zuko what to want. Instead, he just keeps pushing him to find the answer to that question himself.
Is it your own destiny?
That's what he
or
needs.
Is it a destiny
this is what
someone
Zuko
else
needs.
has tried to force on you?
He knows the answer to that question from his own life, but he can't push it onto Zuko. He doesn't want Zuko to learn the same lessons the same way. He wants him to learn them himself. He lets Zuko make mistakes, big ones. He lets Zuko betray him in Ba Sing Se and choose Azula and the Fire Nation and his father's approval over him. He gets
I mean, there was no other way, honestly. As a parent, you cannot prevent your children from making mistakes. You can only be there to help them after the mistake was done, trying to help them fix what's left broken and everything. Give them advice, or be just there for them, because you will never be able to prevent mistakes. Everyone's gonna do mistakes in their lives. There is no... it's impossible to prevent it. Mistakes cannot be prevented. You can only give them... Yeah, you can only give them wisdom or just your love and support. And be there when they truly need it. True love. True community.
Imprisoned. And this is the next scene that I definitely cried over. When Zuko finally comes back with a rehearsed apology and the right amount of shame, Iroh interrupts the speech with a hug.
I was never angry with you. I was sad because I was afraid you lost your way.
Iroh never...
That scene is so fucking beautiful! Seriously. This is what... Why do we not have more people like this? Why are there no more people like this nowadays? I feel like we need more Uncle Irohs. We need people like this. We don't need people that constantly shift the blame on others. We need... Some people that are just exactly right there. Being just there, having a sense of community, trying to be there when things have gone wrong and help just shower people with love and support. Good, where you have to sometimes tell them when something is not good, but this is also a form of love after all. You can only be there. You have to be there for the people that you love, and okay, you have to sometimes do something, but when they make mistakes, let them make mistakes. Those are their mistakes. You will never prevent their mistakes. You can give them wisdom, you can give them advice, but preventing mistakes, impossible.
Never needed his nephew to fit some kind of mold to like him. He never needed him to be exactly like his own son. He just needed him to become his own person, to choose his own path, to become the best version of himself.
The best version of himself.
The fact that Zuko had temporarily become someone Iroh wouldn't have chosen didn't break that love, didn't make him give up. It just made Iroh sad on Zuko's behalf. Because losing yourself is its own kind of suffering. And Iroh, of all people, knew what that cost.
Oh yeah, the cost.
This is what makes Iroh's philosophy stand in stark contrast from his brothers. Because what Ozai produced as a parent isn't a personal failing on top of a...
It's Azula! I mean, we have seen what Azula is. She's perfect, she's powerful, she's everything that Ozai wanted. But as soon as she lost all of her friends, nothing goes her way. Everything just crashes in. He didn't build a ruler. He built a fucking glass cannon. Because at the first sign of things going south, this bitch broke down like in 1,000 pieces. And all of her power out of a window. She was powerless. She was absolutely a wreck. Azula is the best example of worst parenting. She could have been one of the most powerful people in that world, but Oza definitely fucked that up. He fucked her over before she even had a chance.
Sound worldview. It's the worldview correctly applied.
Yeah.
If power is the only real thing, then your children, especially Azula, are extensions of your power and are only used in order to grab it.
Look at that smile of that little bitch. She has no idea what's coming to her.
If the strong rule the weak,
no idea.
then you should rule your children. If love is conditional on usefulness, then you should love them only to the precise extent that they're useful to you.
My father says she was born lucky. He says I was lucky to be born.
That line is a child's translation of a worldview that treats human beings as resources.
I mean, it's worse when it comes from a parent. To a child, a parent is everything. They're basically like, for them, the sort of version of like God. They're like all-knowing. They rely on them. They listen to them. They know everything better. They are everything to children. And everything what these adults around you tell you or just teach you, that becomes your philosophy. That becomes everything to you. And yeah, if you taught these kinds of values, you basically become an echo chamber of that. As said in the middle of the video. That's the best explanation.
Zuko was less useful and less powerful, so he was loved less. Azula was more useful, so she was loved more.
Yeah, here we go.
There's a horrible internal consistency to it.
Oh yeah.
Azula is really that proof of concept. She is what Ozai's philosophy looks like when it works. She was a 14-year-old
when it works.
Prodigy, ruthlessly competent,
when
capable
it
of
works.
taking down Ba Sing Se
She
from
was
the
a
inside
glass
for days
cannon.
when her uncle couldn't take it within 600. By Ozai's
Powerful,
measure, she is the
looking
perfect
pretty,
child.
but when it was necessary,
she breaks.
She flabbergasted.
Near the end of the show, Azula is coming apart in real time.
Oh yeah, my best. This is the best explanation. This is the best. Honestly, this just shows how much of a glass cannon she really was.
As she realizes that she was betrayed by her only friends, Mai and Ty Lee, that fear alone is not enough to make people follow you, and that she doesn't understand her own purpose.
Look at her, she's absolutely broken. That woman, absolutely top. She was scary, she was powerful, she was everything. Right down the fucking drain.
And with her father now putting her in charge of the nation as he himself plans on becoming the Phoenix King, she slips further and further into that downward spiral. She begins hallucinating her own mother, distrusting everyone around her, screaming at her own reflection, ending the war, chains to the grate, sobbing hysterically, broken on the
Wasted
inside.
potential.
Ozai's system works until the person inside it loses that external scaffolding for one moment. Then
This is the worst thing, especially since humans are social creatures. We need people around us, people that are there for us to basically have social interaction, community, and everything, because we are made this way. We are made this way that we need other people to just be okay. And as soon as you lose all connection or everything, and you realize all of this is gone, you slowly fall apart.
there's nothing left, because the entire self was the performance, trying to be the best you could be for someone else, for someone else's power and desires.
Her entire purpose went up in smoke.
This is what Iroh's philosophy is built against, a stark contrast. It's not just two parenting styles that ended in two different ways. It's two styles of metaphysics. It's two directions that life could take. It's two completely different ideas. Ozai says, you are only what you can do.
Oh, yeah.
But Iroh believes you are who you are. And
you are who you
what's
are.
good is good. Ozai's children have to keep proving
Accept the people who they are. You don't have to be anything else for somebody else. You have your own strengths and weaknesses. And you need to find those, and you need to work on those. Everyone is better in something. You cannot force these things.
their worth to retain their right to exist. Iroh's nephew gets to exist first and figure out the doing later. One of those produces an Azula. The other produces a Zuko, who, in the end, freely chooses to do the right thing. But there's also a glaring weakness in this approach to life that the show kind of ignores.
Here we go.
Iroh's philosophy definitely works. It transforms him from the inside out, and it shapes Zuko over years of patience that most people would never have had.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But for the span of the war's last
true parenting
decades, when Iroh had the standing and the power, and by this point the moral clarity to actually challenge his brother, he doesn't. He steps back. He lets Ozai take the throne without a fight, and also refuses to do anything during Sozin's comet.
That's true.
And this might be because he feels that a brother killing a brother to seize power would set a worse precedent than letting things unfold.
Honestly, politically seen, it would have definitely shown a worse precedent. I don't know if people would have been so okay with that if that happened. I mean, politically speaking, it is nothing new. It happens a lot in politics that someone just takes over the throne, but doing it that way, I don't know if it would have lasted, honestly. I mean, there's a lot to be said if it would have worked. Some people will probably argue that it probably was, he should have done this. Why didn't he do this? So much stuff could have prevented it. And what if it didn't? What if it didn't? The problem is we say about ifs and else. We don't know what actually would have happened in that moment. In that moment, what would have happened? Would probably Azula try to take over the throne because, Iroh did the same, so why shouldn't she do the same? Would Zuko be fucking killed? Like, seriously, it would be fucking pandemonium. If one guy does it, don't you think the others will take an example by this and just try to fucking kill each other? Yeah. Oh. Okay.
And there's kind of some truth to that. There genuinely is. Like, he doesn't want to become the person that he was before. But now there's also a lot of dead Water Tribe and Earth Kingdom civilians in that gap between the reasoning and the outcome.
It's honestly true. Those things shouldn't have happened. Those were definitely tragedies. And no amount of kindness can ever repair that.
So, not exactly the best way to go about things. A philosophy built on individual personal transformation has real and beautiful strengths in what it does to the people inside your immediate orbit. But it also has real and uncomfortable limits when the machinery and the system around you is doing mass violence, and you're choosing, on principled grounds, to tend to your own small garden. A philosophy that heals things one nephew at a time is still a philosophy that heals things, still very meaningful, and is still the extent of what most of us could possibly hope to do.
In a sense, he did also here with Fire Nation. There was definitely a lot of pain. But in the end, it produced Zuko as he was then, who became Fire Lord, who slowly helped heal the process. But it took a little bit of a long detour. There was a long time where the Fire Nation was just in a winter of pain. It took a long time. And there's a lot to be said, what could have been done, what maybe should have done. But we are not the best one to judge these things. Especially since it's a series from somebody else. If you were in the shoes of that person, what would you do? It's always the question. But would it work out the same way? Would your voice work better than somebody else? That you can never say. Because in the end, there's always another way. That's true, but it doesn't mean that it's always a better way.
It's just a very, very slow one that can't restructure the system and stop it from the inside out, which is what he had the chance to do.
Yeah. But real meaningful change sometimes has to start slow. You cannot just change a system overnight. As I said, if he would have taken over and just get rid of his brother, who knows what kind of pandemonium he would have unleashed. I mean, I'm definitely not trying to defend what he did. There was a lot of death and pain, and they will probably have to send for that, but there is a precedence that when you go the quick and easy way, that it's most of the time just setting an example of violence, and this circle of violence never stops. You cannot... This is the sad part about life. Bad things will happen. You cannot prevent it. You cannot foresee it. There will always be bad things happening. There will always be a time period of a winter, in a sense. You run into those, but what you can do is maybe take it and prepare for spring. Winter will come. That is set in stone. But it will not last forever. There will be one day a spring. So what you can do is take these lessons and maybe prepare for a new coming of a new dawn. Okay, I'm getting a little bit philosophical, but it's true. You cannot prevent that things go sideways. There is a dark history for every country. Bad things will always happen. You can only do your best in your inner circle and try to give these lessons to others. And they carry it on until things can finally heal. It's true, it's slow, it has its weaknesses, but that's how I see it. I don't know how others see it. And there will probably be a lot of back talk or anything just discussing it, but honestly, we cannot never say how it would have been had. I mean, we would have probably had to ask the writer of Avatar how other paths would have unfolded, honestly. We cannot tell exactly. But I see it like this. Bad things will always happen, as I said. You cannot prevent it. You can only try to prepare as best as possible. And when the chance finally reveals itself, try to fix things, in a sense, or try to make amends.
I don't think there's really a clear resolution to that tension. I don't think Iroh found one either.
Yep.
Whether you would have made the same trade-off or killed your own brother in his sleep is a question I'll leave for y'all to debate in the comments down below. Regardless, the thing Iroh spent the second half of his life demonstrating is that the world has a habit of calling that weakness or naivety.
No, it's not.
He spent decades proving that it's not so. It's really the opposite. It's actually much harder to do. That's the thing that Ozai, with all of his power, could never do.
Exactly.
Step back from it and tend to just the people around him.
Exactly.
If you have an Iroh in your life, then definitely let them know how much you appreciate them and the kindness they give to you.
And go with the
And
flow.
if you're trying to become more like one yourself, the honest thing to say is that you don't have to wait for something to break you open first. You don't have to wait for that grief to change you. Iroh.
That's true. We don't have to wait for that, but most of the time, I mean, Iroh had no other choice. He was, as we said in the beginning of this video, born into a very militaristic nation that just saw this as their whole purpose. Something needed to basically break open his world review for a different opinion. There was no other way, sadly. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but I feel like I really feel bad for him, and it's honestly bad. It's a bad view, but honestly, if his son didn't die, things would have not unfolded as they did. They would have not gone as he saw. He would have never find the way to the light, in a sense, I suppose. It's harsh, it's bad, I hate it! I hate this fact, but this is part of the story. This is part of the story. It was written this way, and sometimes those runes stay with us forever.
Did, but that was never really the point. It was just the initiation to that, but you don't need that grief to start that for you. The point is for you to let go of any grandiose ideas you've built of yourself in your head and to stop trying to put up the performance for other people and to make it legitimate. But be humble, be compassionate, find out who you are and what you're truly meant to do.
Have a sense of community.
Most people just never find out because putting down the performance feels too much like losing, like giving up. Iroh would tell you it's the opposite. It's a new direction.
Exactly.
It's a new chance to become a better person. But Iroh is not the only character who got a second chance at life. Freya and Leela are also some characters who have some experience in that department, which we explored in the previous video. So, like, subscribe, and then go check that video out. I'll see you there.
This was actually so fucking beautiful. That was so fucking beautiful. Oh my god. Oh my god, I love it how they just do this with Iroh. I mean, I feel bad for the man. He didn't deserve so much bad happening to him, but sadly, bad things will happen. They always happen. You cannot prevent it. You can only try to do your best together. Sense of community. Nice way to end it. Oh, okay.